After 8 o'clock, time to take a look at the top stories making news headlines. Today marks the centenary of the end of the World War I. World leaders have gathered in Paris to lead the global commemorations. It was at 11 o'clock on the 11th of November, exactly 100 years ago in 1918, that the guns fell silent across the Western Front, signaling the end of a 4-year conflict that claimed the lives of 10 million soldiers and millions more civilians. In Pretoria, here in South Africa, commemorations to remember members of the South African Defence Force who died are already underway, with the first one currently taking place at Waterkloof in Pretoria. It will be followed by a wreath-laying ceremony at the Union Buildings just before midday. 1,000 South Africans perished in the war from the 60,000 who participated.
The country's history in July 1916. More than 3,000 soldiers defended the wood, 143 survived. This tree was the only one left standing. It still has shrapnel from the battle in its trunk.
It is very important that these memorials and the commemorations themselves to ensure that it does not happen again and their death was not in vain. So we have this a moral obligation to commemorate these soldiers for their ultimate sacrifice in the defense of freedom.
This memorial was originally built in 1926 and only named white soldiers. It's been redeveloped since South Africa's transition to democracy to reflect the role of the 21,000 black South African troops who fought on French battlefields. This memorial, inaugurated in 2016, is engraved with every name of the more than 13,000 South African soldiers killed in World War I. Organised alphabetically without race or regiment, it gives South Africa's war dead an equality they didn't have in life. On Sunday, a South African delegation will join 86 world leaders at Paris's Arc de Triomphe to commemorate those millions of war dead. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin will be among them. French President Emmanuel Macron sees the ceremony partly as an explicit rebuke to those world leaders whose divisive rhetoric, he says, has left the world order more fragile than at any time since the 1930s. Macron says the commemoration aims to honour the dead and remind the world of the consequences of conflict. Elena Casas, SABC News, Delville Wood in the Somme, France.